sound effect you just made about the door sucking? That's kind of gross sounding. We're recording, by the way. So, like, have you ever heard
Yeah.
those those sounds recorded before? They are so disgusting
Are
because
they? Okay,
you
well.
can hear like the vibration of spit on people's freaking tongues. It's so
Gross.
gross. Oh, okay.
That's gonna be my welcome every time. I'm gonna do it every single time.
Oh, that would be so cool. You would be definitely a winner there.
Yep.
One
I
time,
am so cool.
me and my roommate and a bunch of friends, we all pitched in for some acid, right? So we're sitting
Right.
outside of my apartment, and everybody has dropped acid, and the
Right.
door, like we're right outside my apartment, and the door was semi closed. And so
Hmm.
it had hit really hard, and we're tripping, and the wind made the door close and open slightly, and
Yeah.
everybody was like, "Oh, what's that sound?" And the doors opening and closing, and then somebody's like, "I think the door's trying to communicate to us," and so we're all around the door,
Talking door.
talking door. We thought the door was trying to say something to us profound, you know. And then
Yeah.
finally, somebody got the giggles, and that like changed everything.
Yeah.
That
It
was
ruined it.
yeah, no, I made it better, but I thought it was pretty
Okay.
funny at the time, just the
Yeah.
talking door. So when you said the door made the slurping sound, that reminded me of the door opening and closing.
Maybe
Uh,
this was my door trying to talk to me.
yeah, maybe
You never know.
with that strange slurping, sucking sound that
Yeah.
has.
I distracted you so much you didn't even do your "is this thing on" thing.
Oh, I just assumed it wasn't because I haven't because I
You
didn't
haven't
say
said
it.
it yet.
Yeah, I
You
haven't
haven't
said it.
said
So
it,
it
so
just,
oh, that's funny.
I need like. Do you guys have medical alert bracelets? Like they're like a
Uh,
bracelet, like or I
I
guess
haven't got
now
to
it's
that stage yet. I assume we have them in Australia.
like where
We
you
have a lot
fall.
more healthy people here.
Yeah, if you fall over here, I think they do it with your phone. You know, it just automatically dials. You know,
Yeah.
like I've fallen and I can't get up. That's the commercial. It has
Yeah.
this old
I
person that
remember
fell.
that. I've
Yeah,
fallen and I can't get up. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like the stream kind of works like that. I like it knows whenever I say, "Hey, I can't turn this thing on," it just turns it on because I'm an unhealthy American and it helps me like everything else because everything's convenient here.
Right. I think that feels like a segue to talk about your trip to Australia. We
Oh
may as well talk
no,
about that
I don't
first.
do segues, man. What the hell is this? I just say, well, I just
Well, you
stop.
started talking
I,
about it.
I
You
stop
started
abruptly
talking
and
about.
say, and now we'll talk about Australia. Definitely
um,
not enough kangaroos. I didn't see boomerangs. That fucking sucked.
I was going to take you to see kangaroos, but you were like, "Look, I have seen the Australian animals," and I took that as a sign, like, "Well, that's lame. Don't take him
Yeah,
to
so
pet the kangaroos." So I didn't.
Brian, one of the first thing he actually asked me about Australia is how did the kangaroos taste? I was like, son of
Yeah,
a
you
bitch.
didn't even.
I don't know how kangaroos taste.
Right. Well, so just so everyone knows, Mo's not very adventurous with food. I thought he
Okay.
would be, but he's not. So again,
I ate Vegemite. That's pretty fucking adventurous.
true, he did. I got Vegemite into him.
You put it like on your finger and
I
you like
kept saying I'm
accidentally
gonna
like
put it in you.
yeah, you put it on the tip of your finger and you slipped it in somewhere you weren't supposed to. Not
It's
cool,
so
bro.
funny.
Not
I
cool.
think I reckon
But
you
it cleaned
tried
out
it
my
just
system.
so, babe. I think you tried it just so that I would stop saying I'm gonna put this, put this Vegemite in
It's not that you say it, it's the way that you look at me when you say it. It's like
you.
you can't wait. You keep licking your
Yeah.
pinky and saying I'm going to put Vegemite in you and I'm like, no.
But actually, it wasn't too bad, right? Tell us about your Vegemite
It was
experience.
fucking salty. Oh my god, it was like a salt lick, and I like salty food.
Yeah.
Like, um, do you guys have bouillon cubes?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of
it's
course
like
we
a
do.
bouillon cube worth of salt. It's like
Right.
a kid salt lick, is what the
Yeah.
freaking Vegemite is.
It's very salty. I agree. And I only put a tiny little scraping.
Really,
I reckon the butter to Vegemite ratio that you had was like 10 to 1.
really. Well,
Yeah, I wanted to
maybe
make
the
it.
part that I
I
thought
wanted
was
to
good
lube it
was
up.
actually.
I needed to lube it up.
See, you're so into it. You're like, I'll peg some Vegemite into you. That's so messed up. So
Oh
messed up.
boy. So speaking of salt, obviously there was a major complaint that there was no salt on tables anywhere
Yeah,
because Mo wanted to put salt on everything.
I wanted to put pepper and I wanted to put some flavor on the flavor. I'm an American. We put flavor on the flavor.
Yeah, that's
And
right. So I made a stir fry, and
hid the
granted, it
sauce.
was HelloFresh's worst recipe. I don't think I don't think I've had a worse recipe of HelloFresh, and that was like, yeah, the first experience you had of me cooking. And then you were like, oh no, wait, the one, no, it was my Vietnamese salad. You were like, what sauce goes on this? Like, I hadn't put sauce on
You
it.
hid the
And
fucking
I was
sauce.
like, what the hell?
You hid the
Stir
sauce.
it. The sauce
You
is at
you
the
hid the sauce
bottom.
underneath. Like you were like, I'll make him find the fucking sauce. So that whenever he bends over to
Oh,
look for
it's
the
so
sauce,
funny.
bam, Vegemite.
Oh, that's so funny. I should have put you on a diet. When you arrived here, I should have put you on a diet of like 2 days of just plain rice or something so you could acclimatize to the, acclimate to the like no flavor.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
you
would
could
say
get over your like,
of the
mm,
stuff we had, most of it was on the non-extreme level of flavor, which is good because like America's Cheetos and shit, like it's the extreme version of flavor. Like
right,
it was
an
cool.
unhealthy amount of flavor.
Well,
We
unhealthy
have a
amount of
healthy amount
everything.
of
Yeah.
flavor.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of adjusting to the flavors were more mellow and complex in a different way, kind of like, better tasting wine, but I'm used to the cheap shit. So I was like, where's the extreme? Where's the punch to the gut?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Vegemite,
so funny.
it was a punch to the gut.
Right.
I think it was
And
the
then and
butter
then
I
we
was
went to
tasting
like,
that. Gut.
maybe. And then you had on the fry rice. I got you those little. I knew I'd figured him out. I'd figured him out by the last day, and I was like, okay, you got fried rice. I'm gonna give you like the extra little fish soy sauce things.
Those things are
And I
amazing.
thought three will be heaps. He's not gonna have all three. He did have all three, and I'm pretty sure you were like, "Is there only three? Can I get more of these?"
If there was pepper, that would have been great on
Oh
the table.
God. Pepper.
Yeah. Like you guys just trust
You're
people to cook
crazy.
stuff, and I'm like, you need pepper on this stuff. You need a little bit more flavors.
Oh man, that's funny.
So you want to talk about
Anyway,
like
so that's food.
segues? That's we can come back to this Australia. No segue. Sorry, I was gonna go on to talk about like a game and no
Oh.
flavor, but let's continue with the not
No,
seeing.
we can talk about gaming
I didn't
flavor.
see
I don't know what we're
one
talking about.
single fucking kangaroo, nor nor koala bears. I thought you could just like rent a koala bear for the weekend or something, and like just like hold it and pet it and stuff and put it back in the wild when you're done. Check them back in.
You can't do that.
That's
Sounds like a
like
great business plan though.
I'm always
Rent a
thinking.
koala.
I'm always thinking.
You are. You're always thinking about business ventures,
Oh, when we were on the walk
like
and
the
I saw
Airbnb thing.
the picture for the sugar gliders in the wild, and I thought, man, that would be cool. But you'd have to go at night to see that, I guess.
Yeah,
That would have
we have
been
to
really
go a
cool.
bushwalk with our with our torches, and we'd have to be really quiet, which is really difficult for us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
by
did.
us I mean you.
That's funny.
Stop talking. We're trying to find the sugar glider.
But I was going to tell you about my plan to rent out sugar gliders. We're going to collect them, rent them
Right.
out, and then return them to the wild, tagged,
Yeah.
so that we can come back and not have to do it at night. So we can
Yeah.
just find it through
Get
GPS or some
little,
shit.
make little sunglasses for them so they come out during the day.
Of
They think
course.
it's nighttime. They're like, oh, it's dark.
Well, yeah, but then everyone's going to be like, I don't like the brand of sunglasses you chose for my sugar glider. You need something a little. We only use like I don't even know a good brand of glasses of sunglasses anymore. Because all I can think of is
I
like
don't
they're
know.
little sporty ones, so they're all wearing like Oakleys and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Very sporty.
That would
little
be
dudes.
very Australian.
Yeah.
Australians love Oakleys.
Uh-oh, guess who's on here? There is Mr.
Oh,
O'Toole
hey,
himself.
Ian. Oh, he wants to know about the Australian. Well, okay, so just to recap, Mo's very disappointed that I didn't take him to see any of the Australian animals. And he wants to start a business renting out koalas and sugar gliders.
Yeah, I think that people would love to hold him for, a few nights or whatever. And then,
Seems. I think this would upset the RSPCA, which is the animal welfare organization. I don't know
Okay.
what you guys have over there.
we'd have to get their consent. It's all about consent.
Koala consent.
Yeah.
Koalas are barely, they're not awake enough to be able to sign anything. Sleep through the whole thing.
Oh, that sounds
Anyway, so we
bad.
recapped on that. Also, yeah, I know. That's why that's gonna move on. Move on. Okay, and then we also talked about the food not
Vegemite.
being
Vegemite.
being salty. What is your problem anyway? Like, so most food wasn't salty enough. Vegemite's too salty. Where is the sweet spot? Where is the Goldilocks?
A little bit less
Sweet spot.
Vegemite, I could tell you that. A little less Vegemite.
Oh, it's funny.
Maybe more butter. More butter than Vegemite.
Even more?
Even
like
more
what,
butter.
a 15-to-1 ratio? Butter to Vegemite?
Something like that. I don't know. It has to be like a minuscule amount of. It needs to be like a
There
salt.
was a minuscule amount.
Like I would say Vegemite is like 2 times the salt if it was the size of a salt grain. Like if it was actually like a grain of salt, it would be like double because it's Vegemite. It was that hardcore.
It's very condensed. I actually made some in science in high school. We made Vegemite. We made yeast extract. And it is like you cook this thing down until it's just black tar of salt, saltiness.
So it's like your version of Cheetos, but it's not Cheetos.
It's like it's like Cheetos melted in a vat of salt and just reduce it down. Australians don't tell you this. He did, and then I kept saying that I was going to put it in him, and then he was like, "Stop
Freaking out.
saying that." So he just tried it, and it wasn't that bad.
The cool thing part about the
Except
trip
for the saltiness.
is not the Vegemite. It was probably.
All right, tell us the highlights, babe.
Well, I did see some lizards. I did see lizards. I did. That was cool. A few lizards.
The little water dragon dude.
Yeah, and that the other ones that were apart around the shops and stuff in that little courtyard thing. I don't know what those little guys were.
They're just skinks.
Okay.
They're everywhere.
Oh, and then.
Oh, you tried biltong?
Oh yeah, that was cool. Your trees are freaking huge. That's all I can say. They're freaking taller than our trees, without a doubt. And the birds and tree varieties were amazing, but the birds sound like crazy. It sounds like freaking Jurassic Park. Our birds are tiny, and our trees are they look the same almost.
Yeah, well, you don't even have many trees in Texas, do you?
Not in this part.
I don't think I saw a tree the whole time. I saw shrubs.
Shrubs and roads.
I was going to take him to the reptile park where there are kangaroos and there are crocodiles and there are all that stuff. But Mo was like, I've already seen kangaroos before. I've seen them over here.
I wanted to see him in the wild, not in captivity,
Right.
I wanted to see like a I don't know, like a garbage kangaroo,
Bin kangaroo. Yeah, but unfortunately Sydney is there's too many humans here. We've ruined everything. We've ruined nature.
We needed to go to like
too far away.
Kangaroo, like a suburb of kangaroos, like the suburb where the kangaroos hang out.
Yeah. Blue Mountains would have had kangaroos in the wild.
But I don't know. I had a lot of fun. It was really, really interesting. Just a different culture. It was very different. There was a lot more Asian influence than I thought. That I was going to see. Although you had mentioned it.
Ian is always pushing for someone to come visit him out.
I'm sold. Let's go.
All
I'm
right, let's
sold.
go there. And I want to see the quokkas because I still don't believe they exist.
I still hadn't seen a picture.
Oh, you gotta Google that right now. You
Okay.
gotta
Well,
Google that right now.
I'll sort of.
Do you want me
No, I'll get it.
to come to Perth? I do want to go to Perth.
Hey, Ian, that thing that you were, I saw that you were posting something about a game on
Prince?
Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
Did you have anything to do with the art, or are you just promoting it? That's a good question for me. Did you see that, Sarah? That he's been talking about something on Kickstarter lately.
Yeah, it's the one with the animals on it, and I can't. The name escapes me, but I'm sure Ian will write it. Um, the thing that I thought you were talking about was that Ian's got art prints on his website now, which
Oh
I was
yeah,
looking at
yeah.
literally just before this. I was looking at them.
Really?
Dan from the barbecue came to Perth. I said, "Oh man, fit to print." Yeah,
Oh, nice,
got really cool animals on it.
nice.
I don't know anything else about it. Are you looking up quokkas yet? They look so happy.
I am
They're like the
so
happiest little
misspelling
guys.
this because I am not
It's
getting right.
QUOKKAS.
Holy shit! I have seen these before.
You
They're just
have?
too
Yeah.
freaking happy.
Right. Doesn't seem real.
They're like the college stoner friend of animals.
Photobombing everyone with their little happy stonehead pieces.
Are they? Do they ever get mad? I'm trying to find a mad one. They also. Oh,
Give
this
him
one
some
looks.
Vegemite.
This one looks
Give him
pretty.
Vegemite. That makes him
Somebody
mad.
put Vegemite in him. He doesn't look happy.
All right. Should we talk about a game that we played, or do you have more stuff?
I've got
Did
lots
you
of
actually give
stuff.
us the? Did you actually give us the highlights?
The
Like your
highlight.
favorite thing?
The highlight. Besides I don't want to say all like the lovey-dovey stuff for those that don't have partners and friends and all that. I don't want you to feel like your life is worthless and meaningless and all that stuff. So
Yeah, I don't count. What's the next best thing?
I don't know. Outside of the us stuff, let's see. I think the thing that's most memorable is the first walk that we went on with those high inclines and getting to see the nature that Australia, some of all the nature Australia had to offer. That was really really cool. The low light was every time I would like we were in a
No.
car and my eyes would open. I was like, we're on the wrong side of the road. I kept thinking that. I would wake up and
Weird,
just start
isn't it?
freaking out. We're on the wrong side of the road.
Yeah.
Wow. They're like that all the time. I want one of these as a pet. Like, of course,
You need
Americans just
to.
want to capture them all.
Yeah. What's wrong with you? You're gonna rent those out as well.
No, I
You
would
need
keep
to
these.
stop.
I'd keep
Just leave
these.
them.
I'd
Just leave
keep
them where
these
they
for,
are.
keep these for me. Are they? Do they have pouches as well?
Probably. Are they marsupials? I think they are. I didn't know anything about them until Ian
Yeah,
came on the podcast.
they're marsupials because I can see one with a
Yeah.
pouch with a little bitty one.
Little bitty.
Oh no. Yeah, this is too cute.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're only in Perth, I think. Got to go to Perth.
Really?
Yeah.
That's it? Somebody
So?
really needs to make this an invasive species somewhere.
They should be everywhere. Let them loose.
Yeah, let them eat everything and fuck up the environment.
Oh dear.
Wow. Except for Moe. He'll be the predator. I'll be the Quaker predator.
Because they were so nice. You can imagine them like on the mainland, and they were so nice, and they were just going up to the other animals like, "Hi, we just want to be friends." And then the other animals were like, "You look delicious."
That doesn't like fit the profile of the stoner, animal. It would be more like, hey bro, you want a toke?
You got any food?
You got any food?
I got the munchies.
Those things are cool. So yeah, what I saw of nature was really amazing. Being on waking up on the wrong side of the road and always feeling like I'm on the wrong side of the road for some reason was freaking
Yeah.
nuts. Because it would just for a second I would feel like normal, then I would look and say, oh shit, we're on the wrong side of the road again.
Just to clarify, I was driving, so it was safe.
It was safe. Except for mentally,
I
it
wasn't
wasn't.
driving asleep, waking up, going, oh, it's on the wrong side of the road.
They wouldn't let me drive there. I tried.
No. But you did far better than me at trying to get in on the wrong side of the car, because I did that nonstop when I was over there
Well, I
visiting
think.
you. I was like,
Well, remember that I was trying to like impress you and follow you and like open your door. So I was behind you, so you were basically going in the direction you were naturally going. So you were
right,
going to the driver's side,
yeah.
and but as a passenger. So for me, it was easy because I was just hanging back. I was being cool, watching the environment, and look around. Then I would see which side
Being
you were
cool.
going, and I would go to the other side because just my natural coolness.
Natural coolness.
Yeah, I
Okay,
was
sure.
hanging back. I was hanging back and just walking slow, so I could see what side to get in the car.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
and
that's cool that your highlight was nature. That means we're going to go for a lot more walks.
no, it wasn't nature. It was
Dun,
actually
dun,
the
dun.
mall, and I loved going shopping, and so we can just go
Oh
to
man,
to King
King
T every
T.
time we
King
gotta
T
go.
was your real highlight. I know that for
King
a
T was
fact.
freaking awesome. T. Also, game day was really cool. Like universally, it's a trip that gamers are the same everywhere. Like literally, they're the same everywhere. I was like,
Really?
whoa, these are the same people that I'm used to.
Huh.
Not like I'm not saying like unwashed masses and shit. I'm saying we're just all like it's cool to see like just geeks get along. So that was cool.
Yeah.
So I
So
think we were going in direction before that. I think, or do I need more? You want some more
more
lowlights?
segues. I've got plenty more lowlights.
I've always said the highlights. I'm really excited about going again. And when people were asking me about Australia, I kept mentioning how fucking tall the trees are. Fucking tall.
Really?
Yeah, they're
I
freaking
never
tall.
even really thought of that, because I just assumed that the US has very tall trees, but not, I
We
guess not in
do,
your
and
area. The
yeah,
tallest thing is those things that get the oil out of them.
yeah, oil derricks everywhere, just pumping
Mm,
oil out of everything.
yeah. That was weird seeing all of them everywhere. I was like, what the
Yeah, it's all about the
Texas?
it's all about the
Crazy.
oil. I guess I was going to segue into let's get the London Necropolis.
All
Is
right.
that the name of it? London Necropolis?
London Necropolis Railway.
Ro-
Railway. Railway. Yeah. You
okay.
want to talk about that first
Yeah, sure. Let's
while you're talking about lowlights?
what? No, okay. So I guess I have to put this out there first. Um Daniel Newman, the designer. So this is going to sound like I'm. So it doesn't. So I'll just put this out there. I had him try 1903, like one of mine, and he possibly was interested because of the low footprint. It didn't really cost a lot to make it, and I guess I didn't do enough research into the games that he was making and thought it would be a fit because he spoke to Spielworks, and I just assumed that all of us that are on Spielworks are on the same plane. So that's easy to do, but you still have to do your research. And I didn't do it. I usually do it with publishers. I try to see what they do, see if they do anything similar to mine, and see what their interests are and all that. Try to align. I didn't do that with his stuff, and I just had him play 1903 because it fit the fact that he was on Spielworks, and it also fit the type of stuff that he's printing. It's something that wouldn't cost a whole lot to print. So on that note, I had him try it, and they didn't even finish the game. It was far more complex than he was wanting to print. I think it also was a little bit more complex. Like it had, I think it was too deep for what he was trying to do, and it's also it's an ugly child. It would you'd have to really be into economic games to really dig it, and he didn't dig it, and it was I really just think for the group it was just too deep that he play tested it with. So they got halfway through the game and didn't go for it. So that was kind of a downer, but it didn't influence how I felt about his games. After playing his game, it made me see that no, there was just not an alignment. The type of like game that Necropolis Railways, is that what it's called? Uh,
London Necropolis Railway.
okay, London Necropolis Railways was a little bit lighter than I'm used to, and the layers weren't as deep. It was more casual, and theme wise, I just didn't feel the theme. And I guess that kind of upset me playing it because it had been compared to the cost. Uh,
Yeah. Like while we were playing it, I kind of looked that up and it was like in the same sentence. It was, oh, the cost talks about this, you know, oh, what was it? Moral dilemma or something like that. And then this one does the same thing. And I was like, well, is that really fair? Like there was nothing really in the mechanics that sort of made you feel the theme in any way.
right. And actually, that made me one question Space Biff in his review because it said, that it put it in the same sentence. And two, it made me question whether who really understood the cost because of course it's my child, so I'm going to be a little bit it's going to be a preference of mine, but I thought that we addressed the theme really well and with a lot of respect. And I'm not saying London Necropolis didn't, but I don't think it addressed the theme at all. I mean, for me, the coffins and stuff were, just a game piece that you use to do set collection. But
It was like a coffin azul over
kind
there,
of,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah. But I guess I'm not saying it's a bad game, but it was a bad game for me because it's not my style at all. I don't really casual game all that much unless it's dexterity, and it wasn't dexterity.
Yeah, it was a little light on the interactivity for us. Like, I don't think I spoke to you at all that second time we played it.
Oh
We
yeah,
were
we
just
did.
like,
We just
do
looked
this.
up.
We,
We both understood the rules, so we just looked up to make sure that it's our turn. And in fact,
yeah.
it happened so many times that I wondered if you skipped my turn once because I was looking down
Yeah,
at my
you were
stuff.
like, I don't think, yeah, I think you skipped a turn. Or maybe. I don't think so, but
And
yeah.
the hard thing for me about this also is that since we're both kind of connected to Spielworks, I feel really like you should never talk badly or say anything bad about other people on the same on your same like publishing company. It would be like the same thing if you're a band. Don't talk bad about other bands on the same label and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I'm not really saying that the game is bad. It's not for me. Definitely not for
Yeah.
me. And um, I I guess it upset me a little bit for people to compare the two games. I say people. There was one person who compared the two games.
Yeah, I was very surprised by that comparison. Absolutely surprised by it. But yeah, it definitely wasn't our kind of thing. I think I've kind of moved past those games that don't have much interaction at all. I'd rather play with someone I'm playing with. Although on saying that, I was like, oh, well, you know what? I think Kerry would like this because, she's my friend that I play often, like pretty often with, and she doesn't like too much interactivity. And I was like, oh, I'll probably play with her and she might enjoy it. I
I
did like that trying to push the train around kind of thing.
really. I see, and I thought that it was interesting but deceptive because they put railways in the name, and your train people are going to be like, "This isn't a train game. This is not a
No.
train game. This is opposite to things on a map game." But I did love
It
the
had
color
like
scheme.
a yeah, the color scheme was cool, blue and green. Yeah, it gave me like a on Mars kind of vibe with the whole shuttling back and forth. Mars, the colony, obviously, it's not in the same ballpark. It's way lighter than on Mars. Um, but it was interesting that towards the end, you really have to try and like time it so that your train is going to get one last drop off of coffins,
Yeah,
not one last income phase, because income phase is not going to get you much at all in
right,
terms of points.
right. That
So
that
just
was
making sure your train lined up was,
Right. That was interesting. And I thought that was an interesting choice because at the beginning of the game, you can do literally everything on a card. Like a card comes,
yeah,
like your card choices for action selection. You have a card, you can choose one of three things to do, or sometimes you can choose all three, but you can do at least one of them. In the game, you could do all of it. And what I mean by that is that everything was set up in the game where you didn't really have to build up to do it. Like everybody had the choice at the beginning. It's an interesting choice to have that ability at the beginning, but not have it at the end where it's the most important.
right. Yes.
See,
And I also feel like it's not great at the start because I feel like at the start it's kind of fine to have nothing and try and build slowly. Because I mean, I was saying this to you when we played it. One of the universal things that most gamers say is that it's a nice feeling to start with hardly anything and build something. It makes you feel like you've accomplished something, right?
right, right,
And this was just like, oh, we're going to give you exactly 3 mana. So if you want to get a crypt straight away. You can do that, and going to give you plenty of money. Like, money was no issue in the game whatsoever.
Now, I think the second game I had a little bit of issues with money for a moment, but it really, there was no pressure. I was like,
Yeah.
I worked it out. No big deal.
And then I thought maybe that was my fault, that I hadn't hired enough people and maybe I could do way better in the game. But then the second time I just kept hiring people, and it was still easy to pay for them and things like that. So yeah, it wasn't really very tight.
All right.
Anyway.
But I would say that from what I read online and stuff from people's games that people seem to be liking, I guess the people who are vocal seem to like games like this. So I think it's more of a me and you thing versus a game problem. Because the game played, I didn't find any like mechanical problems with it. It's just light on the interactivity, and it just wasn't mean enough. And we like to be mean to each other.
Yeah, I agree, Ian. It's a good way to start off. Start from nothing and build up a little bit.
Well, if you do start with everything, end with everything as well. Don't limit my choices at the very end, because that's when it's the most important part for me. Like, don't have like a quirky little ending where if I'm near this thing, I can't do this other thing, and one thing's obviously way better than the other. So it's really, that part was really weird.
But I'm going to disagree with you, because I liked that. This is a bit I liked, that it had a quirky ending. And I was like, no, I haven't.
Oh, no, someone's calling us lovebirds. How sad. Oh, Deborah. Oh, no, lovebirds.
Oh.
We got to fight. That started a fight. We're not.
And Deborah's calling us babies as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Her babies, to be clear.
She's calling you a baby.
You bunch of babies.
You didn't like that game, you're a baby.
All right, so what else did we play? We played Lowenherz. That's a nice light game that was amazing. This is our thing, right? I think if we're going to play a light game, it's got to be horrifically mean.
Oh, it's funny that you would call it light. Well, I guess it's deep. I think it's deep because of the interactivity and playing the people. But I don't. Yeah. It's hard to call it light for me. But I guess I just have
it's
like.
It's pretty light. There's like 3 actions in the game. That's it.
Yeah, I guess it's light. It's deep and light. I don't know. It's simple.
Yeah, it's deep and light, but it's like rule wise, it's very light.
Yeah, my favorite thing was we're playing with Gavin or it's Gavin, right?
Gavin, yeah, and Manny.
Yeah, and Gavin says he doesn't play games to win, and so I think, it's like, oh man, this isn't the game for you. And he was like, he just seemed like he was going to be like a light, easy player, but no, he was giving you the business when it came to trading with like a negotiation. That was so cool. That was so cool.
Man. I was like, come on, $8. He wouldn't give me $8, and then we went into sudden death mode.
Well, imagine this. He doesn't care if he wins.
Come on, guy. I let you have that whole area. He got so many points from me at the start. Of course, I don't think he realized that he was going to go in the negative when people started stealing his.
Well, nobody realized that except for me. Because I didn't tell anybody that. But anyway, the thing was, like, for someone who didn't care to win, it was like, as long as Sarah doesn't win, that's all good. That was cool.
Yeah, he was a little bit like that, which was a shame because you were very much like that and always are in every single game. You're
but with everybody.
With
everybody.
Sarah's gone down. Sarah's gone down. And then, so I had, those two being like really mean to me. And then Manny, of course, gets away with like the win because you two were distracted by me instead of by Manny.
I mistimed it. I was trying for the win. I was slowly easing up the track. I was not that far from him, but not being that far is like being a mile away.
Far from him, babe. He smashed us. Like he won by like 30 points or something.
He did, but 30 points is like 2 rounds. It can be just depending on That's why I was getting all that money so that I could, just take anything I wanted. But it just played out. You had very little money.
Yeah, Mo was sitting there with a stack like this. Oh, I have to talk about the horrible thing you did to me.
You need to shut up.
Oh my gosh,
shut
so
your
funny.
Mouth.
Okay, so
don't tell this people.
All right, fine. So we're negotiating. We both want to do this action. Mo wanted to do every action that I did. I wanted to do everything he did. So we were in the talks the whole time. We were negotiating the whole time. He's sitting there with like a stack of cards as much, like this much money. And we were negotiating. I think it came to like $10, whatever. He was going to give me $10, and he's like going like this with the cards, and
Counting out
which is what I
$10.
wanted. I was going to say to you, don't give it to me in that one-off card, because there's a one-off card that you can get that you're not allowed to get change. If you ever use it, you're not allowed to get change. So it's really, you obviously want the cash in lots of cards, not just one. Anyway, so he's counting out this thing, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to say don't give me that single card, because he's already doing it. It's cool. It's cool. And then, and then a second later, like I look away for a second, I look back, and he's handing me that one card, and I'm like, what? You tricked me counting out the cards.
Well, I knew you were going to ask for it because you gave it to me. So I wanted to give it back.
So just make sure, everybody, that if you're negotiating with Moe, you literally spell out everything and don't trust a thing. Don't look at what he's doing.
It makes it sound like I'm a genie or something, and I'm like, you have to get the 3 wishes perfectly. If you do the 3 wishes wrong, you're gonna end up like with $1 million and like no head or something.
That is you. That's a good analogy, actually.
I don't think
anyway,
so.
But that game was super fun. It was amazing. It was like there was 4 of us. There's only 3 actions, so every time someone's going to fight over something, and all you're doing is either getting money. What are the 3 actions? Get money.
Politics or get money.
Yeah.
The second one is build
your walls.
Build walls, so basically expand your territory or make territory.
Yeah.
And then knights. And I think that's it, right?
Right. And knights push other people's like territories. It makes it your territory bigger and they're smaller. And I'm here and I'm sitting there playing this game, and I'm like, I'm going to lose so badly because I hadn't got an area yet. I couldn't do any knighting because I didn't even have an area to push, because you have to have a closed territory first before you can start pushing it. And I'm thinking, I'm like totally off of the score board in this. So there's no way I'm going to compete with these guys. And then eventually, it was like magic. Eventually the territory's closed, and because I hadn't had a chance to push, I built all these knights. So then I had power near where I needed to. And I think the trick is also you're going to have an area, at least one area, where you're probably not going to do very well in, because you cannot do everything.
Right.
And I had that teeny bitty, remember I had that teeny bitty place, and I was like closed in.
Yeah. And the other key is to, when other people are negotiating, like pick a side and like talk shit for them. Like when I was telling Gavin, oh man, that's an insulting offer. You shouldn't take that.
Did you think, I don't know how much that worked, but sure,
no, but
if
it's
you
fun.
think that's a strategy.
No, it was fun. That's all that matters.
It was fun.
Yeah, it's
but
a strategy.
I think everyone was like, Moe is trouble. I'm not listening to him.
And then whenever they would fight with me, I would give them like little sad eyes and say, I don't have any money and I'm not anywhere on the scoreboard. Help me, please. Please help me.
But yeah, it was pretty cool because I was like, oh, I don't have a chance. I don't stand a chance. And then I ended up doing okay. I didn't embarrass myself.
Oh, you did, but not in the game.
Right.
What?
It was amazing. I loved it. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to play it again.
Was it you that I was negotiating with and we went into sudden death and like, or was it me and somebody else who were like no money?
You were like, I don't care. I'll go into sudden death.
And then I would flash
I don't want to give you anything. You had like just so much money.
Yeah, I didn't turn over the money into property soon enough.
Yeah.
I timed it wrong. It's been so long since I played it, but that's cool.
And also the end is fuzzy because you don't know when it's going to go off.
Yeah. It's a few turns fuzzy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I wish we would have showed it to more people, but maybe you have it, so now you can show it to other people.
Yeah. So that was great. Oh, we're getting spammed. Yeah. What else did we play? We played Pilgrim. That was great.
Yeah, we should talk about that a little bit.
Let's talk about it because that's a weird one.
Yeah, it's a Spielworks game. Feels like a Spielworks game. Totally feels like a Spielworks game. Doesn't feel like a train game for those expected to feel like a train game.
No.
It's really interesting. I feel like I've we've played it like 3 or 4 times, like 3 times at least, and I
Yeah.
don't feel like we've even scratched the surface of what that game does. Like, especially when we switched from 2 player to 4 player, it was like it felt like a totally different game, and you looked
Yes.
completely lost in a 4 player game.
Thank you.
Well,
Why'd you say that?
your timing was off.
You
Like,
look lost in every game. Yeah.
no,
my
you were
timing.
kicking my ass in a 2 player game, and when we went to the 4 player game, there was little ass to be kicked.
Right, right. Well, you found that rule loophole that just totally like. So I had it lined up where I was going to get this building crazy powerful. Um, and the buildings in that game are everything because once you have a building, you can start breaking the movement rules. Can we just talk about the movement rules? It's such a pain in the
Talk
ass. So
about
you remove one. The movement in this game is so painfully slow. You have like these actions that are around the board. There's 8 actions, and you have the city in the middle and your little pilgrims. I mean, this is the whole point of the thing, is it's meant to feel like this arduous journey, and it is. So you're moving the pilgrim first before you take an action. Just one of the pilgrims you're moving to the next place, and you're doing an action that one of your pilgrims is sitting on. So it has this like painstakingly slow pace, but as the game goes on, different buildings are unlocked that are able to be purchased. I had timed it beautifully so that I was going to be first to buy this building that broke the game and let you hop over one space with your pilgrims. And I was like just so desperate for this building. And then, by the way, everyone can use other people's buildings, but you have to pay them a resource to do so. So Moe finds this like crazy quirky rule that states, because we had the same amount of piety. If you have the same amount of piety as somebody else, you like it swaps. Who's going first swaps. Oh no, sorry, the choice of who goes first swaps.
yeah, that's the important thing. Piety goes first. Ties go to
Right.
the person
They
to the
swap back
right
and
of the
forth.
last person.
So
Yeah.
right. So we were tied for piety, which was a bit of a bummer because I wanted to be first. So I should have pushed it if I had planned it. But I'd planned everything and I was like, I'm gonna be first. So obviously we kept deciding being first is good. So we kept deciding we were gonna be first until the round before, and Moe looks at the rule book, doesn't tell me that he's
Yeah, of
discovered
course
this
not.
little loophole, doesn't say shit. And then he goes, oh, if I give you first player now, it means that it will default to me for the next round, which was the round before. I desperately needed to be first because I needed to buy this building. And he put the first player thing on me, and then it defaulted to him the next round. And it threw my entire game. Thank you very much. That's why I didn't do very well.
Well, actually, that's something really interesting because would it have been my priority to give you the rule? Like, should I have given you the rule? I mean, the rule book was between us. You basically have read the rules. I read the rules. I had you read me back the rules to understand the game. Like, is that something I should have pointed out? Like, in my playing, we both had access to that rule, and I didn't know it was the way it was until I reread the rule. And had I told you, I would have been screwed out of what I was trying to do. So it was my best interest not to share the rules. So, like, what is your game? What do you prefer? Obviously, in that one, you would have preferred I tell you, but in general,
Because Harry won, I don't care. Harry won the game, I don't care. But if you'd have won it, I'd be like, you should have shared that rule. No, it's kind of a funny one, this particular thing, because you, like you said, you did read it and you taught me the first time. So I feel like when you've taught somebody the game, there's kind of this onus on you to be, you're like the rule keeper. So if you discover something that you taught incorrectly or that you didn't teach in totality, I feel like it is on you to then update that person. So you're a bad person, and
yeah, this was
I'm
what our
glad that you didn't win.
third game, and you had access to the rule book, and I think you read the rules as well. And I didn't
Yeah.
find out until really the round before, because I go, you know what? This is kind of quirky, but I bet it's a
Yeah.
thing. And so I read it like, do I get choice or do I get turn?
Yeah,
It's
I
just-
think I even read it after you passed it again, and I hadn't like figured out what it was actually trying to say. So it's fine. I don't really care. I just think it is a weird. I think it is a weird circumstance that
You'd want someone else to be first.
you would, yeah. So it was kind of an odd. It was just a really odd thing that how it went down. But I was obviously very thrown off my game because I'd prepared and I thought that it was safe. I thought that it was safe. I didn't get that building. Everyone's using it. Mo's just getting like resources like rain down on him.
That reminds me of
He's so happy. I'm so sad. The more happy he is, the sadder I am.
Have you seen that hot dog meme where the girl has like hot dogs thrown in her face? You know that meme? That's what it looked like. I just had resources being thrown in my face.
Yeah. It was horrible. But then there was this magic moment. So this is just such an amazing game of Pilgrim. It was so much fun. So there was this moment where Harry was realizing that he could steal this or buy this building just before Moe. So there was another building that was something about movement. Obviously, the movement buildings are the ones that you got to get because they're amazing. I think it was the Inquisition one, wasn't it, babe? Where you can move somebody before your turn. You can move them anywhere you want, anywhere. Harry was like one stone, like he didn't have one stone or something he needed. And here's me just sitting there like with my crappy buildings that no one wants to use. And I'm like, isn't someone ever going to use my stone quarry or whatever the hell it was to buy some stone? Come on, guys. And it was that moment that Harry was like, oh, if I do that, I can buy this building before Moe does.
Yeah, you like screwed me.
And he can, and he has to stop monopolizing this movement thing. And so Harry was like, yes, I'll buy some stone. And then he built the building and I was like, vindication. It was amazing. That was the highlight of the whole game.
What Ian said is interesting right there. But I guess we should, do you want to read out what he says and then I'll say?
Yes, I just read it. I think that's a really, that's a proper way to do it.
I don't know about that.
It's an honorable way to do it, but when you're playing with someone without honor.
Not when it comes to board games. There's no honor. As long as you're playing by the rules, that's number one. Just play by the rules. That goes to the extreme. Play by the rules. Whatever the rules are, play by the rules. You can't cheat. Play by the rules.
The onus was on you. The onus was on
Not
you
on that game. You read the rules. I read the rules.
The game.
And you read the rules. And you read me the rules to learn to play the game.
Oh, man.
And that wasn't the teaching game. That was 3 games away.
I was fine with it.
Because I didn't win.
At the time, I was like, okay, whatever, but I don't think it's right.
But I think this will be on YouTube and it won't have the chat thing. Can you read what Ian said and then I'll say something?
Yeah. So Ian said that him and his honorable game group always tells the whole table, everyone at the table, of a newly discovered funny rule or any rule as soon as it's discovered, because that's the right thing to do. Okay,
so let's say, and I had this happen in Proxima Centauri Exodus. I have a rule, like a special rule on my board. We read all our rules at the very beginning of the game, and then after that, I don't tell you how my character can win because it's a special rule on how I can win. Is it on me to tell everybody, hey, by the way, guys, remember at the beginning of the game when we read our thing out loud? I'm gonna win because you don't remember.
I sometimes even do that. I'll be like, I'm getting dangerously close to winning here because of such and such. I think that's really hard because, I think I personally don't like to win if someone's going to turn around and say, oh, I didn't know your faction could do that. That's like a hollow win. So I tend to tell people, I'm like, my faction does this. I'm like about to win. You guys.
I disagree with that because we're asymmetrical. And let's say my group, my deal is I am a turtle in like this faction is a turtle faction.
My deal is I'm a turtle.
Yeah, I'm a turtle. I'm playing a turtle faction. And the only way that I can win is by not being aggressively attacked. So the moment that I tell you and it is an asymmetrical game and you have an advantage to knowing because your group is aggressive and you need to kill people. So now you have a target. And because you didn't remember, you don't go and look at my what my faction does, I'm giving you the win because my group works like that. I need to be a turtle, and now it's asymmetrical game. You have the advantage. I've given you the advantage. I've given up my
Right.
advantage. So in
I
that
guess
case,
that
I would say
because
it'd be
you're
unfair.
role playing then, because you're turtling and you're like trying to get under the radar like a turtle, so you don't want to tell anyone. It's a role playing game in that
I
case.
always role play every time.
Yeah, I think that in the case of like asymmetry and factions, it's kind of tricky. It's probably better to do just a little bit of research so you know who you're playing against, because it just makes the game better in general anyway.
Yeah,
Um,
if I'm playing, I will look at what your faction does, or I'll get the rule book that has it and start reading that. But I won't.
Ian's giving you a pass on this one, by the way.
Okay.
Ian's giving you a pass. He's like, yeah. And if anyone asks you, you need to tell them the rule.
Oh yeah, definitely. If you ask me, I'm not going to lie about it, or I'll lie in a way that you know that I'm lying, like on purpose. Like if you ask me how much money I have, I might say $2, and you see like this pile of money. It's on you to count it, but I'm not going to hide it. You know?
You would make people count it too.
Yeah,
You would be
exactly.
like, I'm not telling you.
Did I tell you the Ryan Courtney story when I'm playing a game with him?
No.
Okay, so Ryan Courtney and Tim, they had this. Tim had a new
Name
game.
dropper.
Yeah, I'm named like it makes me so famous. They had this new game. It was Tim's game. It wasn't Ryan, but Ryan is this playtester because they both like switch off and they both play each other's games and stuff. So I'm playing this game, and at the time it was themed in trains or anyway. So I played it like I would normally play a game. I'm not play testing. I'm playing it like, okay, I'm playing this to win because you guys didn't tell me here's what I need from you. You said, oh, let's just play the game. So I'm playing to win. So when I get my resources, my cubes, I do like any other freaking cube game or if anything where I got it in front of me. I got all the cubes and I mixed them together and just put them in a pile, right? I had the
Right.
standing count in my head. I knew what I had. It was nobody else's business unless you want to count them. And so I did that. I did like I always do in games, like I put my pile of money. I don't sort them out by the coin. I just mix it all together, make it your problem, not mine, because I keep it in my head what it is. So I play the game like that. And so Ryan
Right.
Courtney on TTS reaches over and lines up my money, lines up my cube so everybody can read.
So you can count it.
Right. And so it's a
Good for
playtest.
him.
It's a playtest, so I'm like, I didn't like shake them up or whatever. I felt like it. I felt violated, totally violated. He went into my player area and it lined up my stuff, and then I was like, yeah, it was a playtest, so I guess they were probably either A, they were trying to keep count, or B, I was annoying the hell out of them by doing that.
I think it was both. I think it was
Probably both.
absolutely both.
Knowing him, yeah, it was probably both. I'm infamous for that kind of stuff. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
well,
we were
okay,
on.
so that part, like that part in Pilgrim though, where you found that weird quirky rule, and I wasn't going to get the building. I understood the like emotional gamers and the ones, how you told me about that woman who like cried or something. I felt it a little bit. I was like, oh, like I was a little bit crushed.
That,
I really was crushed.
I need
'Cause
to
I
do
was
more
like,
of that.
I was
I need to do
relying
more.
on that. I was
That's
relying on that
that.
building.
When you said the woman that cried, I was like, well, what time? There's been multiple times where we made women cry.
Yeah. So I felt it. I felt that one.
I
Took me a
think
little while
I
to
almost
emotionally
I
recover.
think once during Lowenherz, I think a dude would have probably punched me in the face.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty violent. Like he was pissed.
Oh no! What happened?
He was pissed. The game ended.
What happened?
I did that thing where I collected a bunch
You were
of money.
counting your money and then
No.
you gave him.
No, I did that thing where I was collecting a bunch of money, right? So I was collecting
Right.
a bunch of money, and like I was watching this person just go by the rules and like try to expand their area and do all the things, right? So halfway through the game, I collected like his money and everybody else's money that I could and just gave him the actions. And then halfway through the game, every time I was after him, I took his action. Like he would take an action and I would say, let's, I want that action too. And he said, well, let's negotiate. And I said, well, you can't afford to. Like, you can't afford to negotiate. We got to go straight to duel. And, I just like bullied him out of all of his things. And he was pissed.
Right.
He couldn't do any actions. Like he only did one action, and that was the action that he was last. Whenever I picked something, it came around to him or whatever. But he was so pissed. If he could have flipped the table, he would have. He was pissed. Yeah, he was unhappy.
So you took all his money.
I took not all of his money, but I took
his money, and then you wouldn't negotiate with him.
No, I wouldn't negotiate. He gave me all his money. He should have gave me all his money. It's part of the game.
Yes, Ian, we usually do that. Like, this is just our talk session. We usually do this like once a week, don't we? Where we just talk.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like a podcast, and we actually usually don't talk about games all this. So this is the most about games we've ever talked, really. We talk about game stuff, but not really games in particular. I guess this way we'll actually have a little title to put, we talked about this game, sort of.
Yeah. But Mo's been streaming like his work on his tequila game that he's doing.
Yeah, and then when you had more time, we did
CorruptCity. Yeah.
Which was cool.
I'm going to have time again now. I'm on holiday.
There was a second rule thing. Do you want to bring that up, or you want to go on to the next thing?
Oh, what was the second rule thing? Yeah, there was another rule thing.
That whenever you build a length of road and you want to get a bonus, they had you have to build an 8th length road or a 7th length road or whatever. You can't go past the last. Like one is like an 8. So you can't build a 9 length road and get it. Even though there's not like a 9 level bonus. Right. And if someone didn't get the 8, they should just give it to the person who went past the 8. But they don't. They just get you.
Yeah,
have to.
I didn't realize it was exactly 8.
Right. And I had read that, and I didn't think anything about it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then whenever you mentioned that you had this,
and you saw when I was building the road, I could have done a sharp turn, and I was like, no, I'll go all the way around because I'm here thinking that I can just build a really long road, and it'll be fine. Oh, well, you were here. No, we didn't actually. In person.
No, we did a little bit of gaming, I guess more than we usually do together, but we didn't do anything because everything is on TTS, and I have very few physical models of everything.
I mean, we played Conflict of Plants, which was awesome.
Yeah,
and we talked about some ideas for that.
Yeah, and we talked board game design. We did a lot of talking about board game design. We got really excited about a couple of ideas, but we didn't really work on anything. Yeah. Just brainstorm a lot. Yeah,
actually, maybe that was this road thing. I think that was the moment that I was actually like broken inside. I think the building thing was like bad, but then this part was like almost broken because then Moe was like, I tried to get this Cardinals favor, which would have given me 10 extra points. By the way, I still wouldn't have won, but. Then Moe was like, no, you can't have that. You can't have it. Nope. And your road's one length too big.
Long. Or something. And then you're like, well, you saw me building it. I was like, well, I didn't know what you were doing.
You saw me building it. Why didn't you? The conclusion is don't play games with Moe. That's the conclusion.
We read the same freaking rules.
Hey, Gabriel. Yeah, well, this is why videos work better for me because I obviously skip a lot of words. Can't I just cook the meals and you learn the rules? That's how I want this relationship to go.
Not
if you have to tell me all of the rules, though.
Well, I might be like I'll like say like the part that I want you to know like really loud, and then the part I don't want you to know I'll just say it under my breath. They got to be exactly the right.
That's what happened, isn't it? That is what happened.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Not on purpose. So yeah, like you're making me out, and this is kind of something I wanted to bring up. Like to be, do you know what a heel is? Like, in like wrestling.
No.
Like it is the bad character. Like you have bad characters and good characters, and it's like this soap opera of fighting or whatever, but you have these bad characters so that everybody's supposed to hate, and every once in a while the heel is supposed to win, but they're just there to pump up the audience to like have this dynamic. It's from this this thing I think what do they call it? Kayfabe is what the kayfabe, something like that is what the dynamic's called, and then the heel is the bad thing. So you're making me out to be the board game heel, like
I'm making you out.
Yeah, you're making me out. I
think you're making yourself out to be.
So I'm just gonna like show up and everybody's gonna boo, get him out of here. He's the bad guy. And then like I'm gonna make like weird facial expressions and like say, "You're going down." But you know,
Gamer everyone loves to hate.
yeah, and then there's gonna be those few people on the side that are like bad guys, and you know, there's people wearing black T-shirts that have my name on it and shit. Like,
Hannah is with me 100%. Yeah. It's definitely on you.
I don't know. I don't know.
This
I don't
video
know.
hasn't done you any favors.
I
Lucky we're
don't-
live. Everyone's seeing this.
That I'm awesome.
You can't
What are you
edit
talking-
it.
I think that's pretty funny coming from Anna, because when we're talking about rules and knowing it all, because of your teach of the dice game. That what is it, Dice Realms or whatever?
Oh man, I couldn't teach that thing to Anna. I couldn't teach it to you, Anna. I'm sorry, I failed you. I don't know what
I would just see
there.
like
It was
utter
hilarious.
confusion. Then I would try to like help a little bit. Then I was like, no, there's no helping, because I'd have to start all over from the beginning.
I just loved her face like every time I started teaching the rules, and she was just looking at me like, what?
Yeah, and then you basically had two groups of people, and everybody was confused.
Yeah.
That was funny.
I think that there was a wine problem.
I don't know if that's a problem.
It's because I was tipsy and Mo. You were distracted with it. Yes.
Oh,
It comes back to you, Mo.
yeah, I was the bad guy. I was the one there being the bad
You
guy
were the heel.
the whole time. I'm the board game heel.
I gave up at one point. I was like, you guys will be fine. You'll be
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. You're
I'm
like, you
leaving.
got up and left. You,
Get up. It's too
you guys
hard.
have the rules. You understand. You guys got it
you'll be-
right.
you'll be
And then
right.
you're like, let's go downstairs and drink.
Yeah. And then she drove me to drink.
Oh, that was funny.
Anyway, so we were talking about Pilgrim. Like, what do we like about it? Because I really like the game. I like that it's got the asymmetry with the buildings, although it's pretty tough if you don't get a good one, at least one good one that someone else wants. It's a little bit like City of Cold Shoulders. If no one wants to use your building, it's a bit sad. You just don't get that
Did you call it
income
cold
stream.
shoulders?
And then you have one person that's got the building and everyone wants it, and they're just like,
I think you said
that was
cold
you.
shoulders. I don't think it's supposed to be cold shoulders.
the City of Cold Shoulders. That's what I call it.
Yeah, it's a really cool game. I think they re-implemented the theme with the pilgrim walking, like going on a pilgrimage. That was
Yeah.
really cool to do that with action selection. I thought that was the highlight of. That's like the
Right.
brilliant part of the design. Besides the fact that some of the interactions are really cool. It's a really good game. I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to playing that again with.
And
my
that's
roommates and stuff.
yeah, that's the thing we didn't say as well, is when you actually do an action that has your pilgrims on it, you have to move them back to the city. So it's like you just do one thing with them and then they go back to the city. Then they're going to start their little pilgrimage again. And it's just, oh man, it's really tough trying to move them around.
One action per turn, 24 actions. It sounds like a lot of actions, but most games let you do multiple actions in a turn. This only lets you do one action. By the end of the game, those actions could be pretty strong. Beginning of the game, those are very slow, and it seems like a lot of actions, but it's not a lot of actions. 24 actions is not enough actions.
And like I
Feels
said,
like
we
one.
didn't explore it enough because we didn't even really do pilgrim trails. I was the only one that did them, and I didn't do a good job because the cardinal was not favorable.
You make them too long. That's what
They made them too long. Like,
they don't want to walk that far. See?
right.
It's too far to walk.
I was just trying to make them suffer longer, and they, make them. Anyway, I didn't do a good job, but it was fun. It was a fun game. I'm still gonna scour the rules to make sure that we did everything 100%.
I'm sure there's some funky stuff that, like, when we were reading like
now I'm
what buildings did, and then I would I'll read it again, and I would like, oh, it doesn't say everybody, or it says this, and I was like, oh, so here's something we could do.
There were 3 things that Mo found that were funny. 3. Because there was that other thing where I can move anyone's guy back to the city. Oh, that was horrible. Not only did you steal the building that let people move around a lot, but then you kept forcing people to go back to the city. He made no friends that game. No friends.
Board game heel.
And how was it teaching the cost?
it was cool. I thought I was a little rusty at teaching it. It was cool, no problems. Everybody got it. I'm not saying people weren't lost because it's just that that game lends itself to being lost the first turn because it's not.
Oh yeah, first time you play it.
Yeah, because you can just do stuff. And there's no hand holding.
So open.
Yeah, but it went well. I mean, I think we had a good time. That's the end. Done. Nothing else to say. Except
We had a good time.
And you stole a poop emoji.
What do you mean? I stole a poop
On
emoji?
the fucking wall, you stole a poop emoji.
Oh, I did. Do you want to tell that story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Why would I steal a poop emoji, Mo? Tell us the story. Tell us the poop emoji story.
You have some weird fetish with poop. That's why.
Oh my god. Cut him off.
No,
Hannah's like, oh my god, yes, I did. I stole. Do you know what I'm talking about, Anna? There was like there was all these like emojis on the wall. There was,
yeah, it was an emoji theme party.
All right. Okay, so back in the day, when Mo and I were chatting
I was
Twitter,
so much younger.
Yeah, we all were young and innocent. Anyway, I tried to flirt with Mo on Twitter, and it failed horrifically. And his response to my attempted flirt.
Let's talk about the flirt first before I say the response, because that'll give it context. Because I played.
Oh no, this is going to make me seem really geeky though. Do we have to give the context?
Yeah. We're playing Eclipse, and I was playing a faction again that turtled because I like turtling. I'm a turtle, and so it was like not. I wasn't attacking anybody. I was just sitting in the corner. Nobody attacked me, and I won through resources or something like that, through points gained by not fighting. And then I showed you a picture where I'm at. You said that I needed to move or like I needed to kill people or something. And I was like, no, I'm just chilling.
In true geek style, I was like, you're not playing this as good as you can. And I know better. And here's what you should have done.
Right. So then afterward, I say, no, look, I won. I won by not doing anything. Nobody would attack me. And I won through victory points. And then there's the flirt.
Yeah. I was like, I would come for you. Or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds so emotionless. I had to come for you.
I would have come for you.
Something
like that. And then I just left it there. And
then, okay, so I'm thinking the next day. I'm thinking the whole time. I'm thinking, was that a flirt, or is she she being extra geeky and talking about how she's gonna beat me in Eclipse if she ever plays me? What do I do? How do I respond to that? Maybe she wasn't flirting. I know. I'll send a poop emoji.
I think Anna likes the story.
I'll send a poop emoji.
He sent a poop emoji. Yeah.
As the response to her flirt. And I didn't think it was a flirt. I thought
it was a shot. It wasn't the happy poop either. It wasn't the happy poop. I would have been okay with that.
There's not a poop with hearts on it.
No, there's a happy poop, a smiley poop. You didn't even send that poop emoji. You sent a shocked poop emoji. So I'm like, what does that mean? He's shocked and he thinks it's poop. He's like so shocked that I would try and flirt with him that he's like, that's crap. And also I'm shocked.
And I didn't.
Oh, God.
And I didn't know. I had no idea. I had to think. I thought about it for at least a day. Was she flirting with me? Was that the proper response?
That was not the proper. That was literally the worst response.
I don't think so. I think you were on the hook after you saw the poop emoji. You fell in love.
That is like, but why?
It's how I get all the girls. I just throw poop emojis everywhere. I'm a poop emoji guy.
How has Mo ever had any relationships in the past when
the poop emoji is my go-to move.
Was your last relationship before smartphones? Before smartphones existed?
Yeah, I had to draw it. I had to draw a poop emoji and hand it over. To slide a poop emoji to him. But that's before we had the poop icon, so it was a much grosser drawing at the time.
Yeah. You went for the reality, the
realistic instead of the
still
smiley.
life.
Yeah.
Okay, so I get this poop emoji. I'm like, all right, well that went bad, and I don't think I even attempted any flirts after that. I was like, that went way worse than I thought. So now I like to tease him about it, and I'm like, well, if we get married, that's our invite. Like our wedding theme's going to be poop emoji. poop emoji invitations to our wedding.
Mhm.
Anyway, so we were at the game day and there was a poop emoji on the wall, and of course I had to take it.
Steal it. Steal the poop emoji.
Yeah. It was about origin story, a very romantic origin story. And then my son was like, "Oh, that's awesome," and he's got it on his wall now, on his door to his room.
So yeah, you stole the poop
Anyway.
emoji, and that's why.
Yeah, I did take it, but I don't think they needed it anymore.
Probably
They had a
not.
lot. They had a lot of other ones.
So it's like I don't know. The whole board game flirting is like weird in and of itself. You know, like
Right.
I don't know if you can really flirt with board games or like other relationships or how
They're
that.
just not a good tool for flirting, really?
I don't know. I don't know how I
Oh.
poop. Obviously I don't know. I just throw out poop emojis. And
Maybe we should ask Anna. I can't figure out the psychology between just funny things. I'm spiraling. Yeah, I can't.
Okay.
Either. I think it was like All right, here's what I'm thinking. It might have been. Okay, so you get that thing of like, I would have come for you, and then you were just approaching it like, oh, it's us around the table. We're playing a competitive game. Poop. Just try and come for me. Poop.
Yeah, like well shit, kind of. That's it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. So
it
you're
wasn't.
approaching it like that.
I wasn't gonna flirt back because what if it wasn't a flirt and then I just didn't know. Like obviously we had a connection and obviously there was something there, but I didn't think that you were flirting with me, and I didn't think because it could have been taken as an actual. Oh, I would have killed you in that game because the stuff before that was all game related. It was all
True. I was already nerding out hardcore, so it could have just been like, well, I wouldn't have let you win. I would have definitely come
that's
and
that's
destroyed you.
that's the way I took it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a part of me that says, "Wait a minute, this could be a flirt," but I don't know. Let's just play it safe. Poop emoji.
How long did you think about it before you responded with the
12 hours, probably like 12 hours, something like
12
that.
hours?
It was like 10 or
And
12
then
hours. I
was
didn't
the
know how to
poop
respond.
emoji?
I really thought about it a lot. I gave up.
That's the saddest part. That's
Yeah,
the
I
saddest
gave
part
up
of
and
this
just put a
whole
poop
thing.
emoji.
I'm so glad everyone knows about this now. Oh, so funny.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know of anybody else's dating story when it comes to board gaming. I don't know how they went about it or if they talked outside. For me, board gaming is so not a flirty thing. So it was just really, I
Yeah.
don't know,
Yeah, I waited 12 hours and all I got was a
poop
poop
emoji.
emoji.
Right. Like all
Maybe
that.
we need to design a game that you play so that you can flirt with somebody. Flirting
No.
through mechanics. You're like, no, I don't want to do this. You're on your own.
I support you in every way, shape, or form that I can without being involved in this project.
Fair enough. What else did we play? We played some dexterity games.
I love dexterity games. That's always cool. The Crash Octopus is amazing. I like it. It's pretty
We
complex.
were so close as well. It was neck and neck, that game, wasn't it? Yeah,
That's
I
right.
think so.
I only care about winning. Winning in
Yeah,
any
he's just
way.
in that mode of taking everybody down. That he's got bloodlust and he just doesn't see any romantic intentions.
Well, it wasn't the best flirt. Like that, it was the best flirt for a game, but I didn't know if it was a flirt. It sounded like it wasn't a flirt. Like it could have been
Yeah.
taken out, and then I would have been like, I'd have put myself out there with not a poop emoji, and then, you'd have like, I was talking about Eclipse, weirdo, done.
Oh well. Anyway, it worked out.
So,
Despite the poop emoji. Mo likes to say that it was the poop emoji like got us here. And I'm like, no. It was despite the poop emoji.
no, it was a bonus. It was a bonus. So the next question I want to have you heard of gamer knees? like the knees of a
Gamer
gamer.
knees.
Yeah, I have a friend
Yeah.
from the UK, and she
Mm.
says that people
Mm.
have gamer knees. It's that her name is Kat,
Sitting
and
down too much?
yeah, sitting down too much. Like you'll sit for like a long time, and you'll get up, and then your knees hurt. And like
Yeah.
I've never had that in particular because of games. I think it's just an old person thing, but I don't know. Like
You got gamer foot instead.
yeah, I get gamer foot instead. But I think she goes by she only plays red or something like that, just to
Hmm.
who she is. But anyway, yeah, she said it's a thing. You know that they should have like leg braces or something for gamers who sit there for play games forever, so that whenever you sit up, you don't get hurt. And so like, what are the board game injuries? And I'm like, I don't think there is any board game injuries. Like in this, definitely not a short term thing. And I don't think gamer knees are a thing, but they could be. I don't know. I don't know if you know anyone who has gamer knees or whatever.
No, I know that if I do exercise and then I sit down to play a board game, then I'm going to get gamer knees just because it's like,
Inactivity.
yeah, just sitting there, like I get stiff. If I exercise and then I do nothing for ages, then I get stiff.
Yeah. Maybe the secret is alcohol. You drink alcohol
The
and then you're
secret is
all
always
loose.
alcohol.
So your legs are
Injuries
loose.
are all psychological.
True.
When you play with Moe, they are.
Yes.
Um, the other thing I was going to say was that injuries are very, very real when you're playing that goat cheese taco beard
I've never played that.
whatever game. Okay, so we played that before the night before PAX, and Mike. When I say we, it was the Board Game BBQ people. We put on like a pre-drinks before PAX thing, and just invited whoever to come. And we met this woman named Mandy who she'd never even listened to the podcast. I don't know how she found the event. She just found the event because I think she was searching for pre-PAX events or something. Anyway, she came along. We had a great time with her. She was awesome. But Mike was, after we had drinks and stuff, Mike was like, let's play goat cheese taco, cat, pizza,
Yeah,
other
random stuff,
things,
whatever it's called. Yeah,
random stuff. And then he's
the
like,
game you can
this,
find on Amazon.
yeah,
That's where I always see it. Anyway.
I know it starts with goat cheese pizza. I'm pretty sure. No, I don't know. So anyway, he said, whenever we play this, someone gets injured, right? Mucking around. And then they're playing it. And then poor Mandy gets, like, someone slaps her hand so hard that her finger gets sprained or something, broken or sprained or
Holy crap.
something. It gets injured pretty bad. And she's in a lot of pain. And she had to come to PAX with like a finger splint.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we injured her, and then I felt really bad. I think I played So Clover with her or something, and she's trying to like write, and then I felt even worse because I'm making her play something where she's got to write and her fingers thing, and then we noticed that her finger was going blue, and we were like, Mandy, I think you need to change your splint.
Is it a real time game?
What?
Like, why
Which
would
one?
you get injured? Like,
You'd
what?
like slapping and stuff. I haven't played it, but I know there was slapping involved. You've got to get the. Oh no, it's one of those ones where it's kind of like Snap. You're putting down all these different cards, and then when you see something,
He's the injury guy.
I played several times. No one ever got injured. Yeah, I think maybe it is a mic factor. You have to say something when two of them. Oh, no, I can't remember. You have to say what it's not or something.
Oh, okay.
You put down a goat and you have to say cheese. I don't know.
Real time stuff that I wouldn't like.
It is a real time. I don't think you would like this game, Mo. I have a feeling you wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Go ahead.
Well, that was one injury. And then another one at PAX, they were playing that same game, and some guy smashed his glasses.
Two
His glasses
injuries
were
from the
here.
same freaking game?
Yeah, the glass went everywhere. It was pretty dramatic.
Holy crap. We did an event. It was for another podcast group. I forgot the podcast. And it was in BGG like 3 years ago. And we went to a room and they played. We had all these door prizes, and it was at this barbecue place. And there was people from all over different states and stuff. So Jim from Punching Cardboard comes, and he has a couple of people there, like from Alaska or something, and they're basically following Jim around, and Jim's just there to support his friend and their podcast. So they're just there as innocent bystanders. They come in, and we're all having barbecue, and we're all just basically supporting this podcast, right? So we're all there, and everybody's getting door prizes, and they play this game for a couple of door prizes, and it's called like Goat Lord or something like that, where you have to, or Deer Lord, I think, some game where you have to. It's, from what I remember, it was like a Simon Says element to it or something like that. This lady who wasn't supposed to be there, who was just there because of Jim, she gets up there and then she jumps up for some stupid thing with the game, and she falls backward, hits her head on the table. They basically take her to the emergency room, and so for the rest of the con, she has like her head all bandaged up, and she has like a slight concussion. All this just because she showed up to this thing, and she wanted to be with the rest of the people doing stuff. So yeah, I guess there are injuries when you start doing the dexterity stuff and the real time stuff. So just sit at a table and just worry about your gamer knees. That's the safest bet right there. And
gamer knees are nothing compared to
real things like that.
Head.
Yeah. And don't exercise before you game. Just game and be loose with lots of drinks, and maybe you'll be safe.
Just have jelly legs instead.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love Ghost Blitz. So Ian's saying that he can't do grabbing games because if he injures his hand, that would be bad.
Oh, yeah.
You have to use your foot. You have to use your foot, Ian.
What you need is an intern. That's what you need. You get your intern to do it.
An intern to do it. Yeah. That's a great idea. Mo, that reminds me, we didn't play Ghost Blitz with Zoltan.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Oh, man.
That does suck. I would have so sucked at that game.
I know, that's why I really wanted to play it. And he wanted to as well. I was like, when we play this with Mo, he's just going to be like, what just happened?
Yeah, I'm just I just move slow. I'm just like trying to be cool instead of winning. And I win the cool factor every time.
Sure. I wonder if there's a tournament for Ghost Blitz. I feel like I'd actually...
Yeah, exactly. An intern that'll play Ghost Blitz for you. This goes to one of my many ideas, is that you pay me, I'll come to your house and I'll play games with you. Any game you want. You name the game, you rent me out for a few hours.
After this, no one is going to pay for that service.
No, like all those things I do for myself, I do for you. I'm on your side. You're paying for me.
More like, if you want to play with me, Mo, you pay me.
You would have to if it's going to be Ghost Blitz, because I suck at that kind of shit. No, yeah, you would get an intern, and you're going to bring him into the hobby and have him, smoozle with all the people. Smoozle with all the people that you know, and they have to play real-time games for you. But you have to tell them really quick what you want them to do. You have to tell them extra fast in the ear what they want to do. Or they just have to learn what you want, Just like point with your eyes and shit. Do that.
Point with your eyes.
What good is an intern that cannot do the things you want them to do without having to talk to them? You don't want to talk to they're an intern. Don't talk to me.
Right.
Do what I say, not what I... No, do
they
what I want.
They should just know, like a sixth sense. They should just have a sixth sense for what you need them to do.
What good are you if you can't do that?
Right.
It's like a board game valet.
You need a top-tier intern.
Yeah, board game valet. That's what you need. Mm-hmm.
Valet. All right, what else did you have? You had the board game injuries thing.
Yeah. Okay, so like the board game injuries thing, which was interesting to hear a couple of those things. Okay, so the mixed ages thing. Like, I always find this really interesting. When I sit at a board game table, especially at a convention, and I have like a mom and a son, or I might have like an older couple and then a younger couple, and sometimes the dynamic of just the age difference sometimes affects the game. Like, I usually, if like people are around the same generation or laugh at the same kind of jokes, the games seem to be much more enjoyable. But whenever you have like this age gap difference, unless it's someone who's like child humor, everybody can relate to child humor. But whenever you have like, let's say a 30
poop emoji.
Yeah, poop emoji humor, everyone can relate to that, like the lowest common denominator. But when you have somebody who's like maybe 30, and then you have someone who's 70 or 60 or whatever, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just like a different non-connection there. So the connection is purely made on the table.
yeah, I think there's a dynamic there where people are just like, you can't even help it. You can't help doing it, but you're just aware that this person probably isn't on the same level playing field as you, and so you might even just be a little bit more lenient. Like if we were playing Lowenherz with an 8-year-old, probably not going to be too mean to that 8-year-old. I
Oh,
mean, I
I'm
was
going to be
only ever
extra
going to
mean to that 8-year-old.
focus on
Life
you
is hard,
anyway.
kid. We're going to teach you early. No, but somebody, 80 years old, probably not, because I'd be worried that they're gonna like, they're much wiser than me, so I'm not gonna try
Right.
to out bully them with money and stuff because I'm gonna get screwed.
And there's also like a social like respect thing, like a respect your elders thing.
There is,
That would probably play into it a little bit.
well, if I play with like people that are older, and I don't mean like, I mean mentally more mature than I am. I'm like,
Which is everybody.
Yeah, which is everybody. I always feel
including
like
the 8-year-old.
I'm playing at the adult table. Like I'm supposed to be over there with the kids, but I'm at the adult table.
Right.
But then whenever I'm playing with younger people or with people who are more modern with their humor and stuff, I feel like I'm the old man that doesn't belong on the table. So it's just this weird thing, and I definitely act different at the table.
Yeah. I would definitely act different. I would definitely talk less shit. Like if we were, like when we were playing Lowenherz, we were all kind of, we
Yeah.
were like table talking and saying all this stuff. And if there was like an older person at the table, I don't think I'd be like, shit talking them. I just don't think I would do that. I would be like, no, that's not right.
You would be respecting them, and you would be like,
I would be respectful. I'd be like, excuse me, sir, let's negotiate. I don't know.
You're like talking about like playing
weird.
with like a veteran or something, and it's like, thank you for your service, and then you like give them everything.
Yeah. I would to some degree. I don't think I would be like able to swear at them or like,
So that gives me another idea. I'm gonna show up like in a veteran outfit, and act like I've just so I can get extra resources.
Dye your hair gray.
Yeah, whatever
Just
it
so
takes to
people feel
win.
bad for you.
Yeah, or I'll go in there like with, I will just, fake. Not like I'll be wearing a costume, and I won't tell them that I ever did anything. That's on them. Just play the part. Whatever it takes to get the board game advantage.
Ian says, yeah, I think we like act differently with players we don't know anyway, just in general. I should talk all the time, but I won't swear as much with strangers. Yeah, I think that's pretty much me as well.
If I know that it's going to shock the table, I might start shit talking just so that I can get that weird dynamic. Because if I think it'll give me an advantage, I'll definitely shit talk on purpose.
If upsetting people will give Moe the advantage, he will 100% every
100%.
time
Talk shit. Let's say something offensive. Do something that like, it's a board game. I'm not serious, If it gives you like, if it just shocks them, and then it just changes that dynamic. It might be better for everybody if you just get that out of the way.
Yeah, it really depends. It's like, it's that whole read the room thing. Like when we played Lowenherz, I didn't know, I'd never played anything with Manny and Gavin before, I don't think. And so I didn't know them, but it was fine. Like I could tell it was fine, and it just made the game more fun, and we all warmed up and we were all doing it with each other. But, sometimes it's hit and miss. Like I've said it before when we were talking last time, I think I said it, that I have said something and it didn't go down great, and I got a vibe, and I was like, all right, don't say that.
So like recently, with all the travel, I was thinking about how it feels to be with strangers, and how a board game kind of is like it's like alcohol. It's like kind of a social lubricant where you can just like talk a little bit. And if the wrong people, like if you just don't feel comfortable with the people, it's always going to feel like you're sitting with strangers, and you get focused on the game. And a lot of people like that. I'm not that fascinated with board games by themselves and of themselves. I need the social element, not like social deduction, but I need us to joke around. I need that. I do it. I would rather feel like I'm at a bar than at a church. I don't want to be at a church. I don't want to have to, or a school where I'm studying. I want to have fun. I want to, have a good time. And so age is one of those things that is easy to put a finger on and say, okay, so maybe it's the age thing. I'm treating you differently than I should. And for whatever biases you might like, subconsciously have, like this person, like I don't like what are there's Pokemon. I don't like Pokemon. You're wearing a bunch of Pokemon stuff. Am I going to treat
What's
you
your problem?
Am I going to treat you different because you're into Mario and I'm into Wario? There's a big difference there. And so I think age for me is one that I'm very aware of. It's actually something that I might treat a person slightly better. I'm not going to treat you worse. I might treat you better. Have a little bit more, I'll be a little bit less shocking. But I'm down to treat everybody worse.
We've definitely talked about that before as well.
Which one? What?
The board gaming people often are, like you said, are needing a little bit of a social lubricant such as board game. That's one thing that attracts people to the hobby. They might be like more introverted. There's a lot of introverted people in the hobby. That's all I'm saying. And that, they might be the same people that don't read social cues that well. But I'm admitting that this is me, because actually, no, I did read the social cue. I did read it. And I was like, stop shit talking, Sarah. Stop it. It's not going well.
Yeah, I think it's hard when you're playing a couple, because they have their inside jokes. So it's hard to break in, or a family, because it's hard to know what's acceptable for both. So you're trying to find the lubricant in the middle. Like how do I make the mom and the son laugh on the same level and everybody be comfortable?
Yeah.
So that part's difficult for me. And usually we end up focusing on the game, and then I treat the game. I start thinking that I didn't have a fun time at the game, and it really wasn't the game. It was that I was looking for a social interaction that it just wasn't possible at this thing because I couldn't crack the code.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean by like when it feels like you're just playing with strangers versus when you feel like you're playing with your people, even if those people you only just met. Like it's obviously way better. The whole experience.
Okay, so like here's a real question. What would a board game OnlyFans really be? Like, what would you pay? Like on OnlyFans, and we're totally PG. Totally PG. We don't want nothing bad here. Or it can be, but not too. Don't go crazy. Like, I'm putting it on you.
I know. Okay.
If you would to like subscribe to OnlyFans, like an OnlyFans site, because it was about board games and content, what content would you specifically pay one person to provide for you? Like would it be because of their personality? Would it be they talk about specific things? Would it be a designer because you want to just watch them do stuff? Would it be something like Ian to watch them do artwork? Like, if the model of the future for content when it comes to like all the content that we consume, it gets more customizable with more, I guess with technology as it advances, everything gets much more, customizable. So my experience in this world is going to be completely customizable. So if I go to an OnlyFans type thing and I'm subscribing to specific people, that's the question is what would you subscribe to? I think I would do designers just because I'm interested in everybody's process, but at the same time I need social interaction. So it would be people that would, I guess, interact with me on a social, but also be able to like talk about games. I don't know.
Well, this is the thing is I don't actually really know what OnlyFans is in terms of like what even happens there other than the thing you said don't talk about. But I don't know what.
Speaking for a friend. No, whenever I hear comedians talk about it, they always talk about like it's content that's mostly adult, and you would subscribe to a person and you could talk to them directly or whatever. But I heard about this
live stuff, right?
It sounds like some of it's recorded content or whatever. It doesn't have to be live.
Oh, okay.
So when they were talking about Bad Baby, the girl that used to be, I say girl, she's a woman now. The girl that used to be on, that used to say, what was her meme?
Oh, this is Cash Me Outside.
Yeah, Cash Me Outside girl. Okay, so her content is she made like a lot of money from just from having messages. Like you can talk to her directly and she'll message with you, but you have to pay for that. And of course I guess they were saying that she models clothes. She doesn't do any nudity, they said. And she just like you pay to watch her talk about stuff, and I'm assuming there's behind the scene maybe stuff, maybe. But I know that like the majority of her money, like half of it, was made just interacting with people, paying to message. And I imagine people pay her also to do like intros to radio shows or whatever. You would just have her do the voice, and you would record it or whatever. So that's a little bit of what OnlyFans is. I don't know what it. Oh, rule teach. That's a good one. That is a good one. A customized rule teach for someone to teach you the game. The way that would be really good. If somebody, like if you had a live thing that you could do during, like I can't make it to PAX, but I'll be home and I'll be teaching games and I can teach you guys there while I'm home and I'm a really good teacher or whatever. That would be cool. Because sometimes when you go to a table, sometimes they don't know how to play the game and they'll actually learn the game through a video teach at the table. Have you ever seen that? I've seen that like several times. But it would be cool to be at a table and to interact with your own personal teacher.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. It'd be cool to like do like if Rado did like a live thing where you can actually say, no, Rado, don't do that, do this. And you could have like talks about strategy and stuff.
Yeah, that would
or
be
someone
cool.
that did that. Like, here we go, what are we going to do for this? And then you're all like playing it together, like figure out the game or figure out the strategy or something like that. I don't know. I don't watch a whole lot of content.
What if, oh, sad. You're like the novelist who reads no novels.
Yeah. Yeah.
If we were playing it wouldn't be a solo game, but you would set it up for 2 players and I would play you. But of course you have to pay me to play you. We would play.
Forget it. Oh, hi, Paul. Strategy tips Q&A with designers for players you have played a game and want deeper insights. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's what I reckon too. The strategy stuff would be cool.
I always think that's a good idea, but like I never see it in play. Okay, so when people talk about, like, let's say I'm making a podcast and people talk about what gets the most downloads, it's never the episode where they're talking to designers. It's always the episode where they're talking about the new hype, the newest game that's on, for sale and everybody wants to know about it. So those are the ones that have all the numbers. So
that's not true. That's not true on our podcast.
Really?
It's usually the designers that get the
really
numbers. Yeah, and Tom Vassell. When Tom Vassell came on.
Oh, of course.
I think that's like the highest. Yeah.
So it would be really cool. I guess that would be really cool to get insight into a game that, like I said, nowadays I don't think players play games more than like 1 or 2 times. It hits the table, you teach your group, and then you're on to the next, or you might get to play it twice, and then you're on to the next. That would help you get over the playing 5 or 6 times to get into the game, where a designer says, look, here's some interesting things that you didn't even touch on. And that way, by your second game or third game, you can actually explore those ideas. And that might actually get you to play the game more, that you see that the game's way deeper than you ever thought. Get you past the hump.
Yeah. And I feel like playtesting could benefit from that kind of thing too. I mean, you do all these separate, I don't know, maybe separating playtests is better though, because then it's just no one else's thoughts are interfering with the player's thoughts at that time and things. I guess there's a place for that as well, instead of just having it live and having every one being able to weigh in.
Yeah, but the key is to get people into or understanding that if you want to customize your view of the world, you'll have to, at some point, you probably have to pay for content. So if you're going to pay for content, what content would you pay for as far as board games go? And would you pay to play test? And I don't think anybody would play to play test.
Yeah, it's too much like work.
Yeah,
who would do that?
Fucking work.
Yeah, fans want to hear from designers. Definitely.
So it's just this one they don't want
to
hear
You're wrong.
From. So it's just you. Yeah, it's just me. It's me. It's not you.
Oh,
it's
no.
Totally me.
Fail.
I guess it had to do with when Edward would talk about his podcast. I'm over here dropping more names. When Edward would talk about, I'm not going to say the podcast, that way I'm not dropping names, would talk about his podcast, they would say that the interview ones did the worst, the absolute worst. And whenever they talked about new games, people were way into it whenever it was like a Kickstarter. But if it was an old game that was out of print, the numbers would gradually get better. Like, as people started learning that game, like when you discovered Bus and it's an older game, you would people would go back and like listen to people talk about Bus or this older content or whatever.
That makes sense.
And
Yeah.
people would always complain about, you're always talking about games that are not in print. Like what's the point? And shit like that. So,
Yeah, that's really interesting because, like, yeah, ours would definitely, the higher numbers were with designers.
wow,
Like when we
that's,
had Cole Worley on there and Batal and Tom Vassell. Well, he's not a designer, but interviews were high.
so
Players
only,
might pay to play against the favorite designer. That's cool.
so,
Yeah, that'd be cool.
uh-oh,
Playing
million
against
dollar idea.
designers.
You heard it here first. So we're going to start OnlyFans for designers to play against. They're going to be surprised, like, at all the designers who lose at their own games. They're going to be really surprised.
I won't be surprised.
A lot of people will be, though, because, like, they always expect a designer to know their game inside and out and do, like, the best. But I think it's when you design a good game, I don't think that if you can do that, it shows that there might be flaws in the game design. Like if people can't pick up on some other crazy crap that you hadn't thought of, or that there's not just one strategy or whatever, like the
Yeah.
optimal strategy. I can just tell you how to do interesting things, and that would be what a designer could do.
Ian has 100% win rate against Batal.
I believe that, and actually, that's one of the people that I had read early on that talked about how he's not very good at his own games, and I really respect that
Yeah.
because that just shows you
Yeah.
how good his games are. That like he can't even figure it out.
My game's too hard. I can't
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I think also like funny content's good. Like I used to really like Shut Up and Sit Down because their videos just had me in hysterics. I really like their videos. But then underneath all of that, they also, I think, had a taste in games. Like I'm talking about back when Paul's on there. Paul and Quinn's games, the ones that they liked, I think especially Paul, were quite aligned with my taste as well. So like I remember they liked Tashkalar, and I went and played that, and and I really liked it, and I was like, yep. I think even Mage Knight, there was a few games that I just really got into because of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that humor mixed with someone you just respect and you think they have good taste in games.
The other thing, this also reminds me of, God, you said the word, it's I forgot the NFTs. You said it wrong the other day, and I've been saying it wrong in my head ever since. Okay, so
yes,
I listened
that
to
was my
this.
plan.
I listened to this thing about NFTs, and like, it's a scam. But whatever you think, whatever. That's beside the point. Okay, so NFTs.
Tell us your conspiracy theories.
No, so a lot of people talk about it like it's just a scam or whatever. But they talked about some of the early NFTs that made a lot of money, and part of that was they were basically also selling you a community. You would have this group of people that you had this exclusive artwork for, and you would have instant access to them because you would all be on Discord, and you'd be trading your exclusive NFTs. And if somebody wanted one from outside of your community, they would get on this Discord and they would trade or buy NFTs. And this is the way they would do it if they wanted a specific one, because there's only one of each one. So the same thing would go for like a Winsome game. If there was a Winsome Discord, which there probably is, and let's say you had Winsome games, since there's such a limited print run, that's where you'd want to sell your Winsome games, and that's also where you'd want to talk to them. And I would pay for that kind of content on specific styles of games that are very limited. Like if there was this, I'm not saying this because I'm not trying to just be like a fanboy, but if there was something like that for like Spielworks, I would be part of that or whatever. I would be part of the exclusive group that did and traded and bought and talked and all that stuff about, something. The community within the community.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I would do that for sure.
Well, I think we might have to wrap it up, babe, because I need to eat.
Okay, cool. No problem. It was really fun talking. There's still a lot of subjects to go on. I hope people dug the not talking about games that much, but still talking about games, sort of.
We talked a lot more about games than we usually do.
Yeah,
I'm proud of us.
I'm not. I'm like, we should have talked.
I'm glad the poop emoji story came out. Thanks for joining us too.
Yeah, everybody. Thanks for talking and everything and bringing it. Thank you so much, Ian. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everybody thank you, Gabriel, for showing up. Anna, that was a surprise that she showed up.
Anna had my back as well.
She was whatever. No comments. All right, guys.
All right.
Let me see if I can figure out how to turn this damn thing off, and I'll see you guys later.
Bye.